Greenberg. I'm the chapter leader, along with Adam Levezzo, of Undergraduate Net Impact here at USC. So a quick word about us. We essentially are part of an international nonprofit organization that seeks to train the next generation of business leaders by exploring the connection between business and issues of society and the environment. So that really spans quite a broad spectrum of issues, industries, etc. Everything from corporate sustainability to nonprofit management. And so that's why we're here today. We do a number of different things on campus. Really, our goals are to educate, connect, and to act. When I say educate, events like this today where we get familiarized with issues and get to talk to leaders like Dan Pallotta about some of the things that we're interested in, that we're concerned about, and the same issues that we're going to be facing after graduation. When I say connect, we have an MBA chapter here on campus. We look to work with them as well as a professional chapter in Los Angeles, and to obviously get to know each other because we're all like-minded students who care about the world and about the environment and want to use business as a tool for social and environmental change. And finally, I say ACT. We're actually part of a very large nonprofit organization here at USC. We look to use our campus as kind of a laboratory for some of the things we're talking about here today, and really do a number of different projects, one-off consulting type assignments, and to work with people like Matt Oden, who's the sustainability manager here on campus, to actually get to try out some of the things we're learning about. A quick word about the event today. We are really thankful to be sponsored in part by a new institute on campus here called the Levin Institute of Ethics and Humanities. And they were generous enough to subsidize the purchase of 20 copies of Dan's book that we could read prior to today, and to also pay for the food that's back there. Please help yourselves. And we're actually fortunate enough to have Brina Collins here, who wants to announce a couple things real quick.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Brina. I'm not the person who came here to see, so I'm going to make this fast. I'm from Levin, as Dan said, and Levin is actually a new institute, which a lot of you probably don't know about. It's Levin Institute for Ethics and Humanity, and what we're basically geared towards is getting students to start thinking about the right ethical questions. And a lot of ethical dilemmas face us nowadays, and I feel like in the business school it's really prominent and something that I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of thoughts on. So basically this is our first student event that we're sponsoring. We thought that Dan Pallotta's book and the message that he sends was something that was really worthwhile, and we really wanted to be involved in something like this. And the reason I'm here is I brought a couple of flyers for one of our next coffee house discussions, which is just something that we like to do where you guys can get interactive and give your opinion on various ethical dilemmas that we face now. And also, just to promote the grand challenge that Levin is doing right now, where any one of you guys, if you have an ethical question that you want to explore, something you want to get to the student body, we want to help you. We want to help you fund it, we want to help you publicize it, and we want to help you discuss that and go farther into depth. So if you guys have any questions about that, you guys can go on the website. You just go to usc.edu and you can search the Levin Institute and you can find more info on that. I also brought some flyers if you guys want to go to the coffee house discussions, and also I'll be here after, hang out if anybody has any questions or wants to possibly propose for a grant. So yeah, all right.
Thanks, Brina. And another thing, we have a couple more copies of Dan's book actually. So if you're interested in getting one half price, $12, come talk to Adam or I afterwards, and he's here, so maybe he'll autograph it for you. I don't know.
For an extra $12.
Yeah, for an extra 12. So a couple quick other things to announce. We have a flyer here for a course that's being offered in the fall in the business school taught by Adelaide Workman, BAEP 499, Social Entrepreneurship and Social Enterprise. Check this out. I know everyone's registering right now. And we also have Ruchika here from CalPERG, and she has a Green Jobs panel going on today in THH 102 at 6 p.m. So it's Earth Week, it's Earth Day, and Wednesday? Yeah, tomorrow. So check that out. And I think the biggest thank you of the day goes to Adam Levezzo, my colleague, because he did an ungodly amount of legwork to get Dan here today. We had some pretty lengthy email conversations and some pretty long email chains. So I'm going to give the honors of introducing our speaker today to Adam, and I think he deserves a round of applause for really the effort that
Thank everyone first for coming, and I'm going to have to tell Dan that he's wrong. It was a lot easier than I thought to pull this event off. I just want to talk about the evolution of how the planning came along. I believe it was winter break, Dan emailed me the Nicholas Kristof article about Uncharitable and was like, this is incredible, we need to get Dan Pallotta to come speak at USC. And I think my response was, is that feasible? We're like a 40-member organization at USC with very little funding. And so he's like, you're probably right, let's start small. And so throughout the semester we did other smaller events, and then finally I was like, you know what? I'm on his website, he has a speaker request form, I'm going to send him an email. And to my surprise, about 12 hours later, I got a response. And it hasn't been difficult. Dan was incredibly gracious, worked with us, found a time when he was in LA to come speak with us. And we are very glad to have you here. I read your book over the weekend, it was incredible, and I'm very glad for everyone to hear what you have to say. So thank you.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Thanks Adam, thanks Dan, there you are. Thanks to the Levin Institute for purchasing the copies of the book. I lived in LA for the last 25 years, and 5 weeks ago we moved to Boston. And I have triplets, young triplets, and their grandparents and aunts and uncles are all in the Boston area, so we moved back there. And you really appreciate LA after you've been away from it for like 5 weeks. It is so beautiful here and so colorful, and so it's like a paradise. You know, Boston is black and white, and I grew up there, but you'd be really lucky to be going to school here. I'd love to just find out some of these apple core just rolled down. Start compost. It being Earth Day and all Earth. I would love to find out something of just maybe from a few of you, if you'd be courageous enough to volunteer, just what interested you in the talk and maybe what you're doing here for, you know, just a sentence or two. Anybody willing?
Well, besides the fact that I came to do that little spiel, your book it really interested me because as coming from a business background, seeing the criticism that you received from about the money that was going and where it was going when you were raising all that money, it just seemed like a very interesting side of nonprofit that probably a lot of people don't see. Everyone sees it as self-sacrificing, things like that. So it was very intriguing to see how successful you were, even with coming from that background.
Great. How many of you feel like you're kind of struggling with, you'd like to go work for a nonprofit organization, or you'd like to go work in social change, but you also don't want to sacrifice your economic future? Is that an issue? Yep. Yeah. Some people tell me who disagree with me that that's not an issue, for young people. And everywhere I go, I find that it actually is. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about my background, and then I'm going to talk about the book, and then open it up for what I hope will be some good Q&A and some good discussion. My work in this whole arena started when I was in college. I was the undergraduate chair of the Harvard Hunger Action Committee, and we used to do 2 campus-wide fasts every year to raise money for Oxfam America, which is, many of you probably know, is an international hunger relief and development agency. And I was studying about world hunger and the unbelievable rates of mortality, 20 million plus people dying every year of hunger and hunger-related disease, and 2/3 of them children, most of them dying of diarrhea and diphtheria and whooping cough. And I felt very frustrated that all we were doing about it were these 2 tiny little fundraisers that were raising a couple $1,000s a year. And I wanted to do something big, but I didn't have any big ideas. So I was riding my bike to the beach one summer, and I heard about, on my radio, I heard about these 2 guys who were bicycling across America to raise money for cancer research. And it instantly captivated me, and I said to myself, that's what I want to do. I want to organize a bunch of students and bike across America for Oxfam next summer. So we went back to school, and for I think it was 13 nights, we sat methodically at each